a storming bracket!
What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is, of course, my Part 4 Criterion Collection update. Obviously, if you guys haven't seen Part 1, 2, or 3, I would highly recommend you check out those videos down below, guys. But it's July. As of the filming of this video, right now it is July 2nd, 2021. So the sale has officially begun. Barnes & Noble is doing a 50% off Criterion Collection for Blu-rays and DVDs, where the prices drop for the Blu-rays from $40 to $45 to $20 to $25. Then the DVDs, I believe it drops from like $30 to, I think it's like $15 to $20, something like that. Or no, $10 to $15, I believe, for the DVDs. But for myself, I'm not focused on the DVDs because I myself, with my collection, I pick up only Blu-rays and 4Ks. DVDs, the only reason why I pick up a DVD is if there isn't an available Blu-ray or 4K. But obviously with Criterion, whenever they restore things, it's always DVD and Blu-ray. So I'm always going to pick the best of the lot. And Blu-ray for myself, especially with Criterion, is amazing. What they do, the amount of detail that they go into it, the frame-by-frame restoration, it's incredible. And, you know, I have to be honest, at the start of the pandemic, I had like 10 Criterion Blu-rays. Now, obviously the pandemic's still going on and everything, but, you know, closer to the end of this, hopefully, I now have 50 plus titles. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. This time around, I picked up 8 Criterion Blu-rays. 8. So I'll be going over those 8 that I picked up with you guys, and if I decide to pick up any other ones, I'll obviously, you know, do a separate video for that. But for now, I think 8 is a really good number for July, but who knows? Maybe I'll see some other titles. But I'm trying to be smart about it, because again, they are expensive. But it's, you know, it's hard to explain, guys. But I know a lot of people aren't into physical media, but like, there's just something about holding a Criterion. It's like, I don't know, it's like holding like an Oscar or like the Declaration of Independence. Something like that. But in all honesty, guys, let's get started. All that exposition aside, let's discuss the 8 movies that I picked up on Blu-ray. So, kicking it off is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I've only seen this movie once, which is, again, breaking my rule, because with my collection, I always pick up movies if I've seen at least twice. That's another rule. During the pandemic, I did kind of break, among other rules that I did break. But I'm more than willing to make an exception, because this movie is one of my friends, shout out to Ryan Arcavage, it's one of his favorite movies. And I feel like maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset when I saw it the first time. And honestly, it could also be similar to like The Big Lebowski, where I watched The Big Lebowski once. I thought it was good, but I just went back to it later on in life, and I ended up loving it and rewatching it multiple times. So I'm hoping that this will be the case with this. If not, I mean, at least I'll get a good movie, you know, good restoration out of it. So there's that at least. But yeah, that's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Next up, Manchurian Candidate. This movie I haven't seen in like 7-8 years, something like that. It's been a long time. I remember feeling it to be very slow, but then progressively getting better and better until like the final act being really good. But I don't actually remember what happens per se. I just remember that mindset. But my mindset's also changed a lot in 7-8 years, so I'm sure I won't find it to be too slow. Who knows? Maybe that will be the first thing I say on my Letterboxd review, but I doubt it. I think that I'll really like it even more the second time. I did like it the first time, which is why I decided to pick it up. But yeah, Manchurian Candidate. Next up, to be honest, my next up is the one that I knew no matter what, I had to pick it up. For this sale at least, and that was Memories of Murder. As soon as I heard that this was coming out on Blu-ray, I knew I had to pick it up. Memories of Murder I like quite a bit. I've only seen it one time, and I wanted to watch it a second time, but I was hoping that it would get a Blu-ray, at least in America. There is a Blu-ray, I believe it's Region 2, if I'm not mistaken, but there wasn't for, obviously, in North America. So I was very happy to see Criterion get the Blu-ray rights and everything. They obviously restored it and everything, so I'm really looking forward to the restoration for this movie. I can't wait. I like Bong Joon-ho a lot, so I'm really excited to watch Memories of Murder again, which is why I picked it up. Next up, we have one of my favorite Charlie Chaplin movies, and that is Modern Times. You know, I look back at my, I think it was Part 3 video, and it's kind of a sin that I picked up The Gold Rush, but I picked up The Gold Rush before I picked up Modern Times, which is probably my favorite Charlie Chaplin movie. So I'm glad I own The Gold Rush, because I did rewatch The Gold Rush, and I liked it a lot better. Modern Times, I'm hoping that I like it even more, because I do love Modern Times. It is a great comedy, very, very enjoyable, and I'm just honored to now have it in my collection, honestly. So yeah, Modern Times. Next up, man, this movie I haven't seen in a while. I'm excited to rewatch it. Next up is On the Waterfront. this is one of those movies that, despite having also similar to Manchurian Candidate, not seen it in 7-8 years, it stuck with me. It really has. And I feel like the messages and themes really are going to hit hard even more now that I'm older. And plus, it's just great acting. You know, great performances, great cinematography. It's minimalistic, but it gets the job done, honestly, with the production design. And honestly, the cinematography, the usage of the camera and lighting, it's really good. I'm looking forward to rewatching this. I hope that it holds up for me. If not, well, at least I have a great restoration, Blu-ray. But yeah, that's on the Waterfront. Next up, here's where we get into a couple where I break my rules. So next up is The Piano Teacher. I have not seen this movie. I have not, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. A lot of great things about it. And truth be told, again, normally I do not buy a movie if I haven't seen it. It's just not me because it's expensive. I mean, this was $20. But here's the thing. I say to myself, you know what? Based on the premise, I think that I will like it. If I don't know what I'll do, honestly. I really don't. I'm hoping that I really do. I know it's a risk, and I know that I don't do it too often, which is why I'm doing it. And I figured, you know what? If I'm gonna pick up a movie that I haven't seen, it may as well be a Criterion Blu-ray, gosh darn it. So yeah, I'm hoping I like The Piano Teacher, because again, broke my rule for that. Next up, speaking of breaking the rules, this is another movie where I'm breaking my rules, and that is Solaris. This movie has been on my watch list for quite some time. Not even just on Letterboxd, just in general. I've heard so many things about this movie, but whenever I hear about the movie, I always look at the length, and it's 166 minutes. And I know Andrei Tarkovsky is a very slow burn filmmaker, so I always say to myself, I need to be in the right mindset. But it's like, well, Chad, are you going to be in the right mindset? Like, it's been 8 years. So I figured I would finally pick up the Blu-ray, and you know what? Just kind of sit down and watch it, because I've heard that it's kind of similar to 2001: A Space Odyssey. I could be wrong, but I've heard it's similar to 2001: A Space Odyssey, and that's probably my favorite science fiction film. I will do a list for top 10 science fiction films in the future, but it's such a great movie. So Solaris, I've also heard is great, and I do hear it's up there a lot for a lot of people. So I'm excited to finally sit down and watch this movie, honestly. Plus, I now can say I have an Andrei Tarkovsky movie in my collection, which is something prior to July 2nd I wasn't able to say, unfortunately. Now, the final one, speaking of Andrei Tarkovsky, is Stalker. This movie I have seen. I saw it at the beginning of, I think it was 2018, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought it was solid. I appreciated like some of the filmmaking aspects, but I think also it just had to deal with, I was in a very dark place when I watched this, if I'm being honest. Like, I was very depressed. I was in between jobs and everything, so I wasn't really happy. I feel like I was just watching it to watch it instead of actually watching it to be like invested and interested. So Tarkovsky, obviously someone that a lot of people on here love and appreciate and respect, which is why I want to give his movies a second chance, because I have been asked to do an Andrei Tarkovsky, ranking list. And truth be told, I want to do one. But I also, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but like, saying one of his movies is just solid without actually fully expanding on it, a lot of people aren't going to take to that. And so I'm like, you know what? Watch them now, give them a second viewing, and then obviously, then rank his work. So I'm actually thinking about possibly picking up The Mirror as well, because I have seen that as well. But I, again, thought it was just solid. But again, I want to give his movies a second chance. And I feel like, although this is also a risk because I've only seen Stalker one time and there's no guarantee that I'm going to like it better, I do think that it's something that I wanted to take a risk for because, again, it's Andrei Tarkovsky. At the very least, I know I'm going to be getting great cinematography. So, yeah, there is definitely a risk factor with some of these pickups, guys. But I'm curious, what did you guys pick up so far with Barnes & Noble's Criterion Collection haul? I want to see your guys' lists down below. I'm very much so looking forward to it because, again, this is a great sale for film buffs alike. And obviously, I'm a huge advocate for physical media collections. So definitely want to see you guys put your list down below, as well as what you guys think maybe I should get next, because I do have a list of other movies I'm thinking about getting, but again, money. So let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. With the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.